This program is proudly brought to you by Telkom Limited and Daytech.
Good night, Papua New Guinea. I'm Malcolm Wyra, and welcome to another episode of Infocus. In this session, we hold discussions with Telkom Limited's Head of Marketing and Sales, Mr. Mark Withuhn, regarding Telekom's rebranding. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Okay. Firstly, Mark, can you give us a background on the Telecom Network Boost?
Sure, Malcolm. I think the key element to the Telecom Boost is that we're investing a lot more into our network. As the company has aged, we know we need to upgrade our network, and that's both for the fixed and for the mobile, for the backhaul as well. So we're taking various levels of the upgrade. One would be putting base stations into areas we don't have connectivity and bringing connectivity to individuals that didn't have it before through the traditional mobile. As well as fixed. Secondly, we're looking at specific areas. We've got coverage at the moment, but the quality may not be great, either through congestion or for other reasons. We're putting different levels of technology into the network. So certain areas that may be like Jackson's Airport, we've upgraded the base station that serves the airport itself because it's a very highly populated and used area, where we've increased the data output for consumers. So if you go to the airport now at the moment, you'll see that your data connection is far faster than what it was previously, plus there's additional capacity. That's what customers are asking for and what we're trying to do in the network boost. Along with that as well, there's a lot of fiber that we're putting down, connecting different business units and different towers for ourselves. And with that, fiber brings the faster usage, which at the end of the day is a faster experience on data that customers receive from us.
How will the network boost benefit business houses and mobile users who are using the telecom network?
I think you're correct, Malcolm. That's probably the end result in terms of why we're doing this, is that we have to benefit a target audience, and those are both our individual consumers and our business houses. For individual consumers, the way and the rapid evolution of technology has happened at the moment now, for us to be competitive, we need to obviously advance our technology and our network. Our customers are demanding that, especially when they've got choice in the market. Secondly is that new technologies bring efficiencies into our network that we didn't have before. And you know the age of telecom is 67 years from this side, so we're looking at a large number of aged infrastructure that we need to replace. And that aged infrastructure obviously does have a lag to it, so that's what's necessary. The other benefits in terms of what we're trying to do is looking at onshore cache. So what that means is that when we actually route data traffic for Facebook and YouTube, that the exchange happens onshore and not offshore. That just means there's a shorter time between pushing the button on your phone and getting a response back. And simple things like that we can build in to improve the customer experience. With the network boost, if we look at these different areas of the wider coverage, we're looking at faster connection, also very important, the secure connection as well these days and age with the risks on the network. The key aim at the end of the day is to bring this additional value, both in technology and in user experience to our customers.
Will that assist rural Papua New Guineans as well?
Yes. In our rollout plan we've got with the network is not just the improvement of what we've got, it's to improve coverage. So there's two areas that we're using to improve. One will be building a new tower in an area, and sometimes we will build it ourselves. If it means that we need to get it done quicker, we may do what's called co-location with other operators. As you know, we've recently signed a MOU with Santos. We will use their infrastructure to put our radio equipment onto the network. That allows us to set up that equipment far quicker than what we would do if we had to go and build that tower ourselves. From the business perspective, we're putting a lot of fiber down, and we've invested heavily in satellite. And not just the normal satellite, the geo satellite that we had previously. This is the LEO. We've recently got approval from NICTA, which means that now we can go and be a reseller for LEO satellites. LEO satellite, in generic definition, would be like fiber speeds in the air rather than on the ground.
Now, will the network boost see customers pay more for the current products and services that customers are now using?
Very good question, and I think that's probably the crux of this for anybody listening to the program as well, is that the technology benefits are definitely used. The key point, will it cost me more? Our intention is not to unbill any of this additional charges that we're doing. This is our long-term infrastructure within our corporate plan that's been approved by our shareholders as well, is to improve our network over time. We realize that we have to do these enhancements to our network to stay relevant, but also as we build the network up, we want to actually use the funding from organic revenues that we generate and use that back into the network, and that will also determine the rate at which we can actually roll out the new technologies. But in short, there is no intention for us to change the pricings.
When do you plan to roll out or start the network boost or improvements to the telecom network?
Our corporate plan started last year and runs for the following 2 years in the corporate plan cycle. So we've already started with several sites by putting new sites down. We've put new enhancements to sites. In NCD, people who live in the area might see what we've put in monopoles, which means that in areas where we need to add capacity, we've added a rooftop tower. Instead of a whole base station, that's a whole lot quicker to aid the capacity in that area. So you'll find down in maybe around Vision City, where you've got heavy traffic at any one time, that one base station will not service everybody. So we've got multiple base stations around that area. The pragmatic approach to this is that we monitor the network hourly, daily, so we can see where our points of congestion are and where our points of improvement would be. So when we go through and make these improvements, it's very pragmatic. We know exactly where we're going to get the benefit, and that benefit directly translates to a consumer benefit.
Thank you, Mark. We now go for a quick break. Join us on the other side for more discussions. Welcome back. You're watching In Focus. Now, Mark, what are some of the things that Telkom is doing in light of the network boost?
So, Malcolm, I think where the consumer gets to see the benefit from this is our consumer end to it and our business as well. So on a consumer perspective, the handsets and devices and offerings that we put into the market is where the consumer will see the direct benefit. So the first one would be the Telikom T101 handset that we brought in. This handset was specifically customized to our network. So it's dual SIM, it's tri-band, being 2G, 3G, 4G. The benefit there is the consumer can use this in town, and when they go back to the village in the evening, if there is 3G coverage there from us and not 4G, that the phone will still work. The other benefits from this is that we've revised all our pricing products, our more plans, which gives you the off-net, on-net connectivity side to it for voice, and as well with the Gupela data plans as well. We've revised all of those plans over the last couple of months to make sure we're competitive in the market. I think in a recent study, as recent as November, December, through an independent researcher, they've actually found that between ourselves and one other competitor, we are the cheapest in the market. I don't want to carry the title cheap from this side. We're looking at value for money, and in saying that is that whenever we procure a device like a handset, we pay a third party, we're making minimal margin to it as well. The importance we know is to make this device affordable to the public. The more affordable to the public it is, we serve a very big market need. The other changes that we'll see in the market is the brand boost is our brand change. We're going to be very heavy blue and moved away from the blue and the green and the multiple colors we had before. In the past, we had the B Mobile and the Telecom with two separate identities next to each other. And what happens now is we're actually merging that B Mobile into the Telecom brand. So you'll see that red that's moved from the B Mobile will be into Telecom. What that means for customers is that there is no change. You still keep your number, same great value, same devices that you're going to get. The only thing is that you're going to move on to the bigger, better network.
Okay. It's a good segue into our next question, is that why has Telecom decided to make improvements to its network?
The point we touched on earlier on, Malcolm, was the age infrastructure from this side. Telecom's been around a lot longer than the other mobile operators in this market, and obviously our infrastructure is older, and therefore in need to make sure that it is modern enough. With that modem comes the security aspect to it as well, and not just the connectivity. And when we say the modern side to it, if we have a more efficient network, we can actually route and channel traffic more efficiently through the network. For example, is when we look at different ways that we move the traffic around the country to optimize our network, is at certain points we'll have exchanges, and those exchanges obviously need to manage the volume of traffic. So we've brought VSATs into it, satellite into the network to be able to handle that traffic better, increase the capacity on these links. Obviously we've got good partnership with Dataco as well, and certain places where Dataco does have any breaks or outages as well, we need to start building redundancy, and that's what our customers expect. If the network goes down, we need to make sure that we restore it as quickly as possible and have a bigger backup plan. On top of this is that the way that the social and economic demand for communications is in the country is that it's evolved from the SMS to the phone call to the video call. I mean, I'm sure when you speak in public, speak to your parents and like that as well, the video call is a lot more entertaining than it is as well. And you'll notice that the call of the video call is probably the same as the voice call that you've got. So that's the pricing aspect. We're looking to make sure that we're not charging more than we need to. In the old days, there's stories of when you bought a SIM card, the first time you were paying like 150 kina for a SIM card, and you still had to pay for the value. Fortunately, the competition in the market and the regulators made sure that the pricing stays low. So what we're investing in is in technology to be able to deliver that world-class experience to the consumer. They're getting it at a affordable price, a very good value for money on a device and a usage side to it, which means that they become lifelong family members of Telkom as well. And we can see that already in the past. So the idea with the brand is to actually bring that idea of all of those elements together in terms of helping the private sector, helping the government sector as well for this, helping the individual consumer. No matter what your price spend, no matter where you live as well, is that everybody will be touched and will benefit from the network boost.
Now, how has the brand change for Telkom Limited and B-Mobile happened?
Yeah. So if you remember, I think a lot of your viewers will realize that quite a while back we had B-Mobile in the country and operated independently. And several years back, Telikom and B-Mobile merged and operated together. Since then, their brands have still been kept as separate brands. So what we're doing in the brand boost element is that we're taking the B-Mobile now Telkom, and everything will fall under Telkom Limited. And the Telkom Limited will have a blue identity. We'll see that coming through in the adverts that we do, and most recently in the markets. You see the 39 kina phone that we've got, the nice bright royal blue that we've got. That's the new Telkom colours and identity. It stands out very prominently. If you look at certain of the flag poles when you come past the airport and you see on the poles, that's the new brand that we've got. And when you see those, now you'll see that you know that's Telkom. You don't see the B-Mobile anymore. So the B-Mobile users, no alarm, no concerns. If you're currently using B-Mobile and recharging with your Telkom B-Mobile cards, when we do the network boost, everything will remain the same. Your number will stay the same, the pricing will stay the same devices, no change whatsoever. There's no disruption to your network. The only thing is that you're moving to a faster, better network. And the brand that you're seeing is the same brand, it's just B-Mobile is Telkom.
Okay. Will these changes affect B-Mobile Solomon Islands as well?
No, B-Mobile Solomon Islands will remain under their current trading name. Their competitor is also a Telikom, spelled differently to us as well. So we wouldn't be able to go in with Telikom. The names between the two competitors will be too like. It'll actually confuse the market as well. The board has already approved the continuation of the B-Mobile, so there is no change to the operating name. That continues. And that, even I think as recently as now, there's a whole lot of new branding and merchandise that we've put back into the Solomon Island market, which still does carry the B-Mobile logo.
Mark, thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm.
We now go for a quick break. Join us on the other side for more discussions. You're watching In Focus. Still in the studio with me is Telkom Limited's Head of Marketing and Sales, Mr. Mark Withuhn. Now, Mark, what should Telkom network customers in Papua New Guinea and around the region look forward to in the coming months?
I think the coming months are pretty exciting. With the changes that we're proposing on the network side and obviously of the branding and the distribution in particular as well, the customers will see continued value in the products that they receive. We're working very hard on what we can control. And sometimes we can't control the power in the country. We need to have alternative power to it as well. But what we can control is the efforts from the staff within the company and how we deliver that service to the public. So one of the key aspects we've got is we are upgrading our contact center platform to make sure we've got resilience, that if the network goes down, we're not able to take the calls. That will be a thing of the past as well. That's very important. Secondly is that the product offerings that we have in the market as well are offered through all our distribution channels. Sometimes previously they were just through a select group. We want to make it completely accessible to the customers, so there is a convenience aspect to it. The other key parts that we're doing is that we'll look at constantly revising our products and services to make sure that we are competitive in the market and that those services fill the gaps that the consumers are looking for. And that will be in terms of value, what's in that bundle, also in terms of price points. A good example is a product that will be coming out now that we've got is the fibre to the home into selected areas, is that instead of just having a monthly plan, we've got a fortnightly plan because people get paid fortnightly. So we haven't changed the price. If you take the monthly plan and divide by 2, that's your fortnightly plan. So there's no additional markups to it as well. The other products that we've got is Loan Me that we've put through. So individuals that actually do need to make a call that don't have credit at the moment, they can enter in a short code and they can get access to a short loan, either a 5 kina or a 3 kina loan, which then obviously they pay a fraction of it back as a refund when they do top up their phone again as well. The key parts that we've got is an entry-level smartphone. We're on a big drive to make sure we can get LTE penetration, which is the 4G penetration devices into the market, so all those customers can have that great experience on the phone. We source those phones very diligently. We test them to make sure when they come to the market they work across all our frequencies, and we do realize that that customers do use competitor SIMs into it as well. We make sure it works on the competitor's network as well. This is the nature of the market. But primarily for this as well is we take a lot of care and due diligence when we actually put products into the market, is that we need to make sure it works. I've been in companies before where the handset wasn't checked properly as well. It's a huge inconvenience. And 39 kina may not seem like a lot of money to me, but for the man on the street, 39 kina could be the difference between a bus fare home or a meal or case may be. So we need to be very conscious in terms of how customers perceive value and be able to listen to customers at all times to understand how we actually tweak and manage our products. A lot of that feedback comes back from our call center as well, where we have constant reviews and customer feedback. It may be from CEO's level, it may be from our feet on the street, our road shows and some of our sales teams, where we always strive to improve. So the point being is that what's in our control in terms of the network boost, connecting you anytime, anywhere, we need to make sure what's in our control, we have day-to-day incremental improvements to a point where the customer notices the difference.
Do you anticipate a growth in telecom subscription numbers after this rebranding exercise?
I think the branding, definitely, the branding is an element to it as well. We need to make sure we win the trust of the customer. And we're listening to the customer. I know a big concern then is network availability and stability. Hence, the key campaign of a year is the network boost. It's all around making that network stable, available. And every meeting that we have in a senior level side, we address the issues, what are we continuing to do? And this is driven by our CEO as well, Mr. Amos Tepi, is that every meeting is to make sure have we put those monopoles in? Have we done the network? What do we still need to do to connect to the different areas? So it's not just about having it, it's about executing it quicker than what we're doing. And that's a good example of what's in our control. So we know in the areas where we have improved the network, the customers are happy. Because they get world-class connectivity for it as well, and we're not charging them any more for it. And we can see that, as I mentioned, Jackson's Airport beforehand, where before the upgrade that we did, was probably anything from 2 to 5 megs download speed. What we're getting now is between 20 and 40 download speed, depending what area you're in as well. So that's an immediate benefit. What it does help us as well at sales points where people come, subscribers, and get SIM cards for the first time, is to make sure that the signal and the network quality is suitable at those points, that when people do register, they can do so as quickly as possible. If there are any concerns that we have got in terms of network stability, we have got a specific department that those queries go to, and technicians will go and evaluate that customer query or complaint immediately and be able to give us a solution as to fix it. Sometimes it may just be congestion, other times it may be that customers are on a fringe of a network and they're not getting the best. Irrespective of what it is, at the end of the day, whether it's black, white, green or blue to the customer, it's still a point that the customer needs to have resolved, and that's our key focus under Network Boost, is to grow our customer base by doing and providing a service that the customer wants. And we've been doing that, as I mentioned, from last year already, and we can see we've got significant customer growth, and those customers are staying with us in those areas where we're providing and fixing those services. So the key point over here is that we know the customers are loyal to Telecom. They will always be. We're 100% PNG owned, and we always will be as well. Where we do actually listen to the customers and fix the network query, those customers stay with us, they use our service, and they promote our service.
Finally, in a nutshell, why is Telecom the best network in Papua New Guinea?
I'd have to be biased and neutral for this side as well. I think if you understand the passion that the staff have got, the legacy within Telecom and the passion, is that there's a constant aim on day in, day out from all the staff to deliver the best service that we've got to our customers. And when you see that elements of that on a daily basis, it might be from the contact center, it may be from the road shows, it may be to certain points where you've got partners that have done something and gone out of their way. It may be specific events like the Central Music Festival we've got coming up recently now as well, where we're actually promoting and collaborating with companies or with entities that actually do deliver services to the community that use our products as well. When we see that complete closed circle of what we're doing in the community and how it touches people's lives, that obviously makes us proud and proudly to be Telecom employees.
Mr. Mark Withuhn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Well, viewers, that's all the time we have for this edition of Infocus. Do join us again next week Monday for another episode. Till then, bye for now.
This program was proudly brought to you by Telkom Limited and Daytech.